Hello and welcome to the Outcast and Happy New Year, Happy 2020 to you all. I'm your host HC and with me is.
Wolf.
And 2019 is behind us, a whole decade is behind us. So we decided, you know what? Why not actually talk about some of the stuff we enjoyed in 2019? I mean, we can do this, it's our podcast, so we shall do it. So
That's
each one
right,
of us
ladies
is.
and gentlemen. Welcome to the Outcast Awards.
Mhm. Yeah, Wolf worked really hard on the picture that you're seeing in front of you right now.
Totally.
I also,
Took me
I also,
days.
I also did a very
5 minutes.
important part, and really important and heartfelt part of choosing the outcast text color.
He did.
Yes. And we said, you know what? Let's actually talk about let's actually bring up five stuff we either played, watched, or read throughout 2019. And I give you a spoiler alert now. There isn't much of read in this,
We
but
should state, right, that the criteria was that it doesn't matter if it came out in 2019 or not. It had to have finished in 2019, and we specifically here on the Outcast had to have, like he said, like HC said, read, played, or watched it in 2019. If it came out before 2019, that is perfectly fine, just so long as we came to it in 2019.
mhm. Yeah. So with that, with that said, I guess we can start with our runner-ups because we have some runner-ups in our lists. So how many runner-ups do you have? I have two.
We'll figure it out when I get to it.
Okay.
I'm totally
So
prepared, I swear.
okay, since you're clearly not prepared, I'm not sure if you
Lies.
are actually. You might be actually prepared, and I'm just mocking you, or you're actually not prepared, and you're trying to sway the results from you.
You'll never know.
Oh, I know. You are trying to stall for time because you didn't think this through. I
I
know
did
you
not.
well, way too well, my friend.
Maybe I did, though, and I'm just messing with you.
And that's also an option. You're capable of both, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Chaos.
yeah. So with that said,
Jumping
you
right
know
into
what
runner
else?
ups.
Yeah. So I'll start with one of my runner-ups. The only thing on my list that's not 2019, and that's the Deponia game series.
Hmm.
Now this is a shout out to our good friend Hadek
Mm-hmm.
who introduced me to this franchise. I just saw Hadek draw this character. I'm talking about this character named Rufus, who looked a bit like Hiccup from How to Train a Dragon. And we started as a How to Train a Dragon podcast, so obviously curiosity piqued. And I did some research and I saw that there are four games, and I saw Hadek talking about them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And one day throughout the year, all four games were on sale on the PlayStation Store. So I thought this was a good time to give them a shot, and I didn't necessarily marathon all of them, but I did play them relatively close to each other, and I had a great time with them. The fourth one is definitely a weak one in my opinion, but it doesn't change the fact that I enjoyed my time. It's a really funny series. It's a really thought provoking, and not in the way you might think, but I really enjoy them, and I recommend everyone to check them out. Even if you can't necessarily play them, check out the cutscenes on YouTube. It's a it's a great, funny series. A bit of dark humor, but you can always use a bit of dark humor in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed them. Huzzah!
Fair enough.
That's a reference to the games. They sing Huzzah in them. So yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look into them.
Okay, so you're an up. Go.
Okay.
No escape.
My first runner up would definitely, I think, have to go to Cressida Cowles' The Wizards of Once. I'm going to be our book nerd for this one, somewhat at least, anyways. This is on my list as a runner-up because I just got to the first book early this year and read through it and very much enjoyed it. I think I would say that if you've read her How to Train Your Dragon series, I think The Wizards of Once will be pretty much right up your alley as well. If you read and liked her How to Train Your Dragon series, I think The Wizards of Once will be right up your alley. There is some differences there that do set it apart, but it still feels very much similar, right? It's very much, that same kind of style, that same kind of, the same. It's very much similar. It's very much, that comfort, I guess you'd say. There's not too much that has changed, at least from the first book. Maybe the second and third. I think the third is the most recent one that's come out. Will sway this opinion somewhat. But based on the first book that I have read, very much enjoyable, very fun read, and very much in the same style as How to Train Your Dragon. So if you liked Cressida Cow's How to Train Your Dragon book series, then you'll enjoy The Wizards of Once. That is my runner-up.
Yeah, I read the first one and I enjoyed it too.
You might enjoy The Wizards of Once then.
Yeah, that's what I said. I read the first one.
You read the first Wizards of Once?
Yeah, I read the first one. I need to get to the others at some point.
But it's an enjoyable book series so far.
Yeah. So, with that said,
any other runner-ups?
My other runner-up, this is a movie that came out in 2019, and the only reason it's in the runner-ups is because I tried to keep the actual 5 to like 1 per franchise, and I didn't, and so including both of them was kind of like, I'll put one in the runner-ups, and that will be Spider-Man: Far From Home. So, people who know me know that I'm a very simple man. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero and one of my favorite characters in general. So of course,
Spider-Man's a popular hero and character.
Well, there's a reason for this because he's awesome. But and I'll say that Far From Home is definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie from the live-action ones. Into the Spider-Verse is still my top favorite, but from the live-action ones. Far From Home was definitely a favorite one of mine. I saw it in theaters 3 times, one time in Hungarian, which was definitely an experience I won't forget soon. And it's not just because Spider-Man is called Pokember in Hungary. Fair. Yes, this is the thing. But also, in terms of this year, I got really close to one of my friends thanks to this movie. So I am forever thankful for that. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Second runner-up for me. I don't have too many runner-ups for this list, but I've lost it.
Well,
it was there.
You had it and then you lost.
I had it and I lost it. So obviously not a very good runner-up. Yeah, I didn't come up with too many runner-ups for this list, to be honest. If there's any one particular thing I think I would give it to, it would have to be... Yeah, I'll give it to... I only started playing it very much at the tail end of 2019, right? So I can't say too much about it, and maybe this is a little bit unfair, but I enjoyed and am still enjoying Pokemon Sword, So I think I would give it to that.
Yeah, it came out this year, didn't it?
It came out 2019, tail end of 2019.
Yeah. Well, so, it's in 2019. It counts as coming out in 2019.
But I mean, I only just got it at the very tail end, so I don't know how much it counts. But I've had it for. I'm skirting the line of 2019 here by saying I played it in 2019, a week before 2020. That's why it's on the runners-up list. But yeah, I'll give it to Pokemon Sword, an enjoyable Pokemon game. It's nice to play that on the Switch and get into that.
Nice. Well, now we come to our actual countdown. So we shall start with the number 5, and I'll say again that most of my numbering is it's just a random order. It's not necessarily that if I place something in first and something in five, it doesn't necessarily determine how how strongly I feel about it or
And
how
keep in
much.
mind, these are like things that we watched, read, and played in 2019. There's obviously a
Yeah,
ton of stuff
exactly.
that comes out as far as books, movies, shows, and games go all throughout the year. Some of that, many of those things, we definitely cannot touch on all of it. So these are the things that interested us that we touched on, and some of this stuff might be older. And that's perfectly fine. Again, it's just this is what we touched upon and looked at and enjoyed in 2019 for us.
Mhm.
So if something
Yep.
that you love isn't on this list, we're sorry. But
Yeah,
make
it
your
doesn't mean
list
it's not.
in the
It
comments
doesn't mean it.
below and let
Yeah,
us
it
know.
doesn't mean it's not good. It doesn't mean it's probably either we just didn't feel it. It just didn't scrap our our list, so we just haven't had the chance to watch, play, or whatever it is yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let us know in the comments. But other than that, my number five, and again in no particular order, I'll just be out with it right now. It's How to Train a Dragon: The Hidden World.
No, that's
Most
fair.
likely, because like I said, we still started um, with as a How to Train a Dragon podcast, and we were kind of filling up the time until Hidden World came out, and all of a sudden it came out, and we got to review it, and I got to watch it with a lot of friends I made thanks to the Bellcast, and and just the feeling of that finale that we got to the end, and that end was worth it for a change after 10 years. So,
Mm.
and this is also something that it's this entire series started in 2010 and it kept up with the decade until its very end. So you know what? I think
Mm.
it's gonna seeing how this is something that's been with me throughout all of these years, I think it's more than earned a spot. And and one of the last things I've done this year is actually marathon the entire trilogy, in one sitting, and I had a great time. So definitely, How to Train a Dragon: The Hidden World, definitely up there.
Fair enough. I'm the terrible fan who doesn't have How to Train Your Dragon on his top 5 list.
You are fired.
Mm. You'll hire me back in after the
I
show,
already did.
anyways.
I already did. you
Wow,
because
quickest hiring and
yeah.
firing and firing and hiring I've ever had.
Yep. You see, 2020 is a year of being fast, I guess. I don't know.
Mm.
Okay.
There's a
What is your
joke
number
there, but
five?
anyways, my number 5 will be The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky. This game came out. This game series came out well before 2019, if I'm not mistaken. But I just got to the first game in the series this year, or 2019, in 2019, and I enjoyed it. This is a JRPG game, and JRPGs for me are very much comfort food when it comes to games. This is what I play to sit back, relax, and lay down and just kind of zone out to a degree. Because, especially for turn based JRPGs, they don't require a lot of concentration or focus most of the time, and you can zone out through them for the most part.
Mhm.
Sometimes they can have interesting stories that can be very much off the walls. Hi, Kingdom Hearts. But so you need to pay attention at that point, otherwise you're going to be completely lost. But this one's not. It's very much by the numbers, and very much an easy story to figure out. So easy, in fact, that the main villain in this game, the main villain for the second game is revealed in this game. Correct? To let you know,
Oh,
I guessed who it was well before, and they reveal that villain at the end of this game. I guessed, and you get to see him very close to the beginning. I guessed he was the main villain at the beginning of the game. Like,
mhm.
if you know JRPG stories, if you know anime stories, right, you will very quickly see all of the, story beats that you're going to be going through. Very quickly, you will be able to tell it all. Not hard at
Well,
all.
fair
So it's
enough.
a very by the books, JRPG anime story, right? but it has its enjoyable moments. And I think the thing that sells this one is the characters. My favorite characters definitely being the main character Estelle and someone you meet along the way named Chloe. Definitely enjoyable. Love to see all of that. It's just fun. So it's my number five for being exactly what I needed it to be when I needed it to be it, which was my regular dose of JRPG comfort gaming food to zone out to.
Okay, that's cool. Very much cool. So next up for me on in
Number
number
four.
four. Number four. And well, it's time for kind of an obvious one, so let's get it out of the way now. Avengers Endgame. Do I even need to say something about this one? Do I
Maybe.
need to say? Well, I guess, but the thing is,
It is a part of the
people,
format.
I'm asking this rhetorically. Why do you have to ruin everything?
It's my job.
But and that's why I fired you a few seconds ago, and I'm already regretting your rehiring. But anyway, Avengers Endgame. Do again. I think this is one of those choices that kind of explain themselves. It's the biggest movie of the year. It's now the
Mm-hmm.
highest grossing movie of all time. This is 11 years of building up 22 movies to get to this point. All the heroes, all the movies, all the stories, all the villains, everything leads to that point. And for this final point to be so, again, kind of like with Hidden World, where the ending feels like it's worth the journey. The ending here was more than worth the journey, and you could. I will agree that the movie is a bit too long for good because it's 3 hours, but at the same time, I honestly don't feel that these 3 hours pass. Like it goes by so quickly. It's so fun. It's emotional. Like the ending still gets me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a great movie. Like the one of my best experiences this year was actually watching it on opening day with all the fans and just hearing everyone react. Like if I could go back to one moment in my life and I re-experience it as it was, it would be watching Endgame at that opening night again with the crazy crowd with me. So yeah, great movie and great, and just a, a fine stamp on 11 years of you know building a universe. Like this hasn't been done before, and even the people that are trying to mimic it aren't doing it well. So to see the originators of this format of the cinematic universes, put a fine stamp in it, even though we know there are going to be more movies, and Spider-Man came out after this, but still, that ending was really great, and I'm more than happy to have participated in this journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fair. A good number four. And this is why my list probably does. I don't think. Yeah, my list definitely has no movies because I figured you'd pick them all.
Yeah, and you're not wrong.
So for my number four, I'm going to pick another book because you're a resident book nerd here. I'm going to go with, I went with Ruby After the Fall. Had to get Ruby on this list somehow, even though the criteria couldn't let me do the show. No, Ruby After the Fall released this year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be
Okay.
terribly wrong and completely misremembering dates. I earlier confused 2018 for stuff that came out in 2018 for 2019, so who knows at this point. I'm old, that's my excuse. But Ruby After the Fall, I'm fairly certain it came out this year, and I read it this year.
Well, I'm going to trust you and not Google it.
Mm, thank you. I appreciate it. But Ruby After the Fall, this is very much a novel that released, and it's pretty much one of the few times I've seen, a show come out and then get books after the fact, especially novels. Not too unique, but very much a little new for me, at least, anyways. And I enjoyed this. It's a lot of fun. I think it's very much a book that, if you're a fan of the show and you're a fan of Ruby, you'll enjoy this. There's a lot here to enjoy, a lot here to dig into because you get to see more of the world and you get to see more of the characters that the book follows, which is Team Coffee. Coco, Yatsuhashi, Velvet, and Fox, right? Those four characters. They're the main characters of the book, and they're the ones it chooses to follow in a completely different part of the world of Ruby that we've not seen as of yet in the show. I don't think this book is something you can pick up entirely if you've never seen the show, unfortunately, right? If you've never watched the show and you have no idea of Ruby and you pick up this book, you might go into it being somewhat confused. But I do think it can be an okay-ish jumping off point for the show. If you pick up the book first, read it, and it gets you interested, go check out the show. I think you would enjoy it. And it will definitely and the show will definitely help to clear up a lot of potential questions you might have at the end of the book, right?
Okay.
Suffice to say, definitely a book that's more so written for fans, which is understandable, but still something that's very enjoyable, even though it's written for fans. So, Ruby After the Fall.
Awesome. So, number 3. In my number 3, I'm taking a trip into the unknown. Yay, I managed to drop a song name in this. Woo. So, Wolf, do you have any idea what I was referencing, or do I need to spell it out?
I mean, you should.
You really don't know what the song is.
No.
It's Frozen 2.
I've never watched Frozen 2. I have no idea what comes from Frozen 2. Apparently, Into the Unknown's not as popular as Let It Go.
You'd be surprised. The covers are already starting to, take over YouTube. So
I've not seen any.
You're behind, dude. You are really behind.
I told you, I was in the year 2018. I just now got to the year 2019. It's 2019 for me while it's 2020 for you.
So, considering Wolf is yet to experience Frozen 2,
it's not out yet for me.
Yeah, under the circumstances, I'll keep this choice spoiler free. But basically, the thing is that when I heard that they're making a sequel to Frozen, I was kind of iffy. Not because I'm one of those idiots that hates the first one because it's popular. Oh no, I love the original. The thing I was worried about is that prior to this, Disney never really did sequels that were a part of their theatrical canon. Like the direct-to-video films don't count. They don't have the original crew working on them. None of that. So Frozen was the Wreck-It Ralph 2 did come out first, but Frozen was the first sequels they actually announced as this is going to be part of the Disney animated canon. And I was kind of iffy on that because I thought, it's probably because, the first one is the highest grossing animated movie of all time. No, the new Lion King doesn't count. Fuck that movie. But
it does, though.
No, it doesn't.
It beat Frozen, though. It
did. But everyone calls it the live-action Lion King. So what happened that now it's the highest-grossing animated movie of all time, huh?
Because no one can agree on definitions anymore.
Either way, the Lion King remake sucks.
Because we're contradictory hypocrites.
Yeah, but anyway, so Frozen 2, I wasn't really sure what they're going to do with it because I felt the first one, closed the story off really well. And then I started seeing and hearing more about the second one, and I was actually interested in seeing what they're going to do because they actually, took some of the questions that the first movie presented and answered them in the sequel, and in my opinion, not only answered them well with answers that aren't the first thing you're going to expect, so it kind of catches you surprised. But also when I left the movie theater and actually thought about it more, I actually liked those solutions and answers a lot more. When I actually sat down and started analyzing it, the movie got better the more I thought about it. I'm not sure if I'll say I like it more than like because in some sense I kind of like it more than the first, but I'm not sure if I'll say as a movie it's better because it does drag just a little bit, but at the same time it's more than a worthy sequel to one of the biggest movies that we had this decade, and I really liked it. Frozen 2.
Fair enough. Done.
So
So moving
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Number three for me. I'm going to go with a show that came out in 2019 and that I enjoyed, an anime, if you will, Cannon
Oh,
Busters. This is something I've been talking to HC about covering at some point in the future on the Outcast, but Cannon Busters is very much doing a little bit of research into it. I found out that this show was apparently kind of started on a person's, I don't remember their name, unfortunately, forgive me, but it started out as a DeviantArt project, believe it or not. And through that, the guy, the person, I think it was a guy, but the person, got funding through, I think it was Kickstarter, and that turned into getting seen, and that turned into enough funding to get it noticed by Netflix, which then eventually got this an entire, which then led to this being animated by an actual Japanese animation studio, right? But it was an entire thing that started on a person's DeviantArt, in the West, right? It's very unique in how it, in its origins and where it started and where it went to, and it's on my list because it's a damn good success story with a
mhm.
damn good anime to boot. Like this anime to me when I first saw it, it's like wow, I'm getting a lot of old nostalgia vibes for Cowboy Bebop and Trigun and some of those old mecha anime and just so much good stuff coming from this. This is right up my alley. I'm going to watch it, and it is definitely right up my alley. It's pretty much nails that old nostalgia vibe, but also being something very unique and new on its own. I
Mhm.
highly recommend Cannon Busters. It's a good, just old western, and that opening theme is mwah, beautiful.
Okay,
So highly recommend Cannon Busters. Go
we'll
check it
definitely
out.
have to check it out.
It's on
So,
Netflix.
mhm. So number two, I'm going to differentiate a bit because this is not a movie. This is a show.
Shock
Um,
surprise.
yeah, a mini series. If I should be accurate, and I'll just say I know it's based on a book. I didn't have the chance to read the book yet,
Okay.
so I'm going to talk about the mini series, which is Good Omens.
I've heard about this. I've
Yeah,
heard, like, I've seen a lot about it, but I've not watched it myself. I've
mhm.
heard good things
Bas-
though.
yeah, it's a really cool show. Shout out to a good friend of mine who actually got me into it. It's a it's a very cool idea about kind of like taking a trip through history, also and also like seeing different historical moments, even some Bible some Bible stories in it. Um, that take place across history and describing the story of friendship between an angel and a demon, and
Hmm.
how together they are trying to prevent Armageddon from happening. And I won't say more than that because the story takes so many turns and has so many funny moments, sad moments, even even moments of neither. And it's just a great show. And each episode is like an hour, and I can tell you I could probably sit down and watch all 6 episodes in a row because this is such an addicting show, and the characters are so likable. And if you ship them or not, that's the issue.
This
The thing
stars
is,
David Tennant, does it not?
yes,
Yeah,
David
okay.
Tennant plays Crowley the demon.
Okay.
And David
Not
Tennant is,
surprising.
yeah, so David Tennant obviously elevates the level of the show by a few points.
No,
So
fair. Completely
he
fair.
also has he also has one of my favorite quotes in the entire show, which is "I was having a moment here." I won't give context to you. You'll have to find out why he says it by yourself when you watch the show.
Okay.
And And again, just a really fun ride, and I'm more than happy to say that I own the entire thing on Blu-ray, which I still need to sit down and actually watch all the extra features. But I really enjoyed this show. A really unique concept, uh, fantastic acting, great plot, funny, a bit sad sometimes, a bit of everything. Just a great show. Good omens. Good is indeed.
Fair enough. I'll definitely have to get into it watching. I'm definitely interested in watching this whenever I get the chance to do so. Because
Do
like I said,
it.
I've heard a lot of good things about this one, and
Okay,
David
so
Tennant
do it.
definitely doesn't, you know,
Mhm.
hurt at all. For
Yeah,
my number two,
yeah.
I'm going to pick another show from Netflix, The Witcher.
Mhm.
This one had a lot of,
Which we covered in the previous episode.
yeah, go
The
check that out.
Outcast. Go check it out. Shameless plug.
Plug,
Wink
plug, plug,
wink.
plug, plug, plug. Yeah, go watch that. You can
On
hear.
that note, please listen to some of our Bellcast episodes. They're hilarious.
Fair enough. More plugs. Yeah, like go check. If you want to hear my,
You know, it's our channel, so might as well.
fair. Now back to the awards show though.
Yeah.
If you want to hear my specific thoughts on the entirety of the show, go check out our previous episode of the Outcast. But for this, I'll say that there was a lot of doomsaying, a lot of naysaying about The Witcher as we learned more and more about it, and as it was coming out. Like, following some of the news around it, everyone was just upset that this was a thing. They were upset about all the casting choices. They were upset about so much from it. And it definitely, whether you want it to or not, it definitely kind of leaves its mark on you and definitely makes you more weary going into it, I suppose. Or at least I was a little bit. You try and go into something with an open mind and completely without any judgment or bias, but that's impossible to do. What you hear before, and if you continue to hear a lot of naysaying and doomsaying about something, it's definitely going to leave its mark, as I said. But I think this turned out fantastic as something that follows the books, that's unique from the games, but still gives me, I don't want to say references, but still gives me, like, points where I can look at and say, you know what, yeah, that's exactly how I would expect it to be because of the games. It just works. It's way better than anything I could have ever thought it would be. And it was just an enjoyable show. It's not perfect, mind, but as far as shows that have come out based on books with games that already existed as well, and to be honest, had quite a bit of expectations to live up to, it did extremely well and definitely won me over to the point that I'm excited to see season 2 and where they go and what they do with it. So Netflix's The Witcher.
Yeah, you can listen to both of our opinions in the episode about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now to number one. And again, because people are probably going to raise an eyebrow at this has nothing to do with, this order is completely random. And
Drum roll. It's a drum roll.
yeah. And so before you do the drum roll, I just say again, it doesn't. My number one doesn't necessarily mean it's better than everything that's been up to this point. It's just in a random order stuff that came to my head. And this movie I'm definitely one to put on the list because I think it's worth it. So now you can drum roll. My number one is Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
You held that for too long. Anyways, explain. Interesting pick.
Okay,
Wait,
the thing.
is this the U.S. one that came out a while back?
Yeah, the one that came out this.
The Western one.
The,
Okay.
Yeah, the American sequel to the 2014 version.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have probably cleared this up. This is not the American version of the original Japanese classic. No, I'm talking about the sequel which came out this year to the 2014 American Godzilla, and most importantly, the third in the new MonsterVerse. And yeah, here's the thing: I love Godzilla. Okay, I love destruction. I love destruction, and I love dinosaurish things that destroy stuff. And Godzilla checks all them out. regard.
No, that's
So
fair.
mhm. So I really like Godzilla. I really enjoy the version. It's good that we actually have a. It's nice to say we have a good American Godzilla and not that piece of shit from the 90s, which is not Godzilla.
You didn't
Toho
like
confirmed it.
Baby Godzilla, who were essentially raptors?
Wolf. Toho, the company who created Godzilla, said that this is not Godzilla and officially named them Zilla. Therefore, this is not
I know.
Godzilla.
Baby Godzilla's, though, HC.
Who cares? They kill him with missiles. And there are three baby Godzillas in the Japanese movies. So why the hell do I need the raptors for? Anyway, I rolled the number one. So a few things I want to. First of all, Godzilla is always up. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fucking Godzilla. And then also they also bring back they also bring into the American movies Mothra, Rodan, and the King fucking Ghidorah. So and yeah, I know he has multiple names, but Ghidorah because I think it's the best rolling of the tongue name. So they bring back all of these monsters and they let them fight, as they say. And there are so many great moments in this movie. From the action sequences to actual fan service. Like this movie has fan service to almost to the same level as Endgame. I'm not joking. There were so many moments in that movie watching it on the big screen where I was like, oh my god, they used that music track. Oh my god, they referenced that little thing that I didn't even think somebody remembered. And oh my god, they referenced this thing from that movie, and it's like and it's all just big entertainment, and I just had a really great time watching it.
Yeah.
It's Godzilla. It's big in your face and incredibly badass. What more can you ask for?
Fair.
And I would have tried to do Godzilla's role right now, but this is not going to
Do
end
not.
well
Do
for
not.
anyone.
Do
Actually, do
not.
you know? Do you know how they originally made that role?
No, I do not.
They took a leather glove and dropped it against a string instrument. That's the sound.
They did what now? They took a leather glove and did what?
They rubbed it against a string instrument.
Ah, I got you. Okay. Interesting. Interesting way to do that.
Mhm.
Huh.
Yeah,
Neat.
that's how they made Godzilla's. And also, if I may credit the thing for the movie and its prequel for one more thing, the way they upgraded Godzilla's world is so freaking.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm done with my number one. Now you go.
My number one. So I set this one. So we covered this one as well, to give you a hint before I say it, in the Outcast. And I said on the Outcast that I thought this was my number one. This was probably my sleeper hit of 2019 when I watched it, and that is She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
For the honor of Grayskull, as they say.
Mm-hmm. I came in, I saw this one come out. I think it came out 2018. I saw it come out, and my reaction was, yeah, this is not something I'm going to enjoy. This is probably not very good. And it's just, not up my alley. I'm not going to enjoy it. It's not going to be very good. And just, general, that was my opinion of it when I first saw it. Time went on, we get into 2019, season 4 comes out. I see people reblogging and retweeting things and all of that about She-Ra and talking about it in different places that I'm on. And I see a few things come up that, alright, you know what, you've caught my interest. Before I get spoiled anymore, I'll give this show a shot at the very least. Maybe it'll win me over. I doubt it, but at the very least, it can't be terrible to watch. And I went into it not expecting anything much and expecting more so to kind of walk away from it feeling very meh. And I came out of it feeling very like, whoa, I fell in love with this. I absolutely fell in love with this. I absolutely enjoyed every single moment of this. It's, in my opinion, a great show.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
definitely a great show, and another one we have an entire podcast about. Go
mhm,
listen to it.
yeah, go check it out, The Outcast. Yeah, like I fell in love with the show and I didn't expect to, and that's why it's on my list. Like it is and was and will be my sleeper hit for 2019. I did not come into
Mhm.
this expecting anything, and what I got out of it was a lot more, and something that was extremely enjoyable and that I'm glad I watched. So, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, go check it out.
Yep. So, should we say should we say what we are looking forward to in 2020 just to close it up?
Sure, if you want to.
Okay, so
Anything
basically,
in
I
particular?
I have two in particular that I want to point out, which I just need to do something here for a second. Never mind. It will come later. So anyway, 2020. I have two movies
Mm-hmm.
that I'm really looking forward to. One of them you're probably going to give me a lot of shit for, but what can you do? It's me. It's the Sonic movie. Now that
That's fair.
Sonic actually looks like Sonic, I am really interested. And the second trailer with the redesign actually sold me an entirely different movie than the original trailer. And the movies they sold me the second time looked more fun and Sonic-y than the
Mm-hmm.
first one. So I'm saying, you know what? There's probably a potential that I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to try and enjoy it to the best I can. So that's one. And the second one, kind of, continuing my number one, is that at the end of 2020, Godzilla and Kong going to fight once again. And I'm very excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
This is one. This was a cult classic in the monster movie genre back in the 60s, where Godzilla and Kong first fought, and now we're getting a remake, and it's going to be a part of the cinematic universe that brought us both the American Godzilla movies and Kong Skull Island, which was also great. So what can I say? Bring it on! I'm so ready for this. So ready.
Hopefully it does well.
Hopefully.
Hopefully you actually get to see the monsters fight.
Oh, we will.
um, Anything I'm looking forward to. I don't keep up with stuff too much. I guess game wise, slightly looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077. I think that'll be interesting.
Because
And
of Keanu Reeves.
I mean, Keanu Reeves could sell anything, right? Because he is precious.
I'm telling
He
you,
is the best of us.
people are going to see that the new SpongeBob movie just because he's in
Yeah, they are, and they will. I mean, I know I would.
it.
Again, Keanu Reeves is probably one of the best of us. But other than that, not too much comes to mind. I'm looking forward to finishing up Ruby, but I don't think that counts. That's not necessarily something that's coming out in 2020. So I don't have too much to add to this list, if I'm honest.
In terms of games, there's one that I'm really looking forward to, and it's The Last of Us 2. You
Ah,
know,
yes, yes.
the first Last of Us is one of the best things I've ever experienced this decade. So I'm most definitely looking to its sequel. And also, it's Naughty Dog. Tell me, show me one time when Naughty Dog made a bad game.
The Last of Us.
That's what I thought. You shut up. So anyway, don't you have anything else for 20? No.
um, if I'm not mistaken, the next novel for Ruby comes out this year as well. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But if it does come
Mhm.
out 2020, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. But yeah, not too much from me. To be quite honest, there's not a ton of stuff I keep up with. It just comes out and I'm like, oh, that's a thing. Cool. I'll watch and then go watch. I'm very much, oh, that's a thing. I didn't know. Oh, it was announced 5 years ago. Never heard of it. I'm watching it now, though. I'm enjoying it. That's me. I'm surprised by everything. Remember, I live in a year in the past, so
Yeah. So with that said, that's all for this episode. the Outcast. That's it for 2019.
We hope you enjoyed the
2020.
Outcast Awards.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 2020 is already here, and we are half a week into it. So, what are your plans for 2020? What is the best? What is your list from 2019, and what are you looking forward to in this current year? Whatever you have to say, you can tell us all about that in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, which is Belcast Team, on our Twitter, which is BelcastC. And until next time, I was HC.
I was Wolf, and we're looking for sponsors for those ad spots for the prestigious Outcast Awards.
Yeah, you do this on your spare time. We'll talk to you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye.